Welcome viewers, you're watching my YouTube channel and I'm your facilitator Dr. Seema Sharma. Dear viewers, we are on chapter number 9, Reproduction in Animals. We are covering this chapter part-wise and this video is about part 5 of this chapter. In this video, I have covered asexual reproduction in animals, flow of information of this video is also as per the content given in your NCERT science textbook on page number 106 to 108, but certain specific pictures, flow charts and video clips, they are taken to supplement this video and to make it appropriate for students who are studying from books of other publications. As this is the concluding part of this chapter, let me take you to the journal layout of this chapter to apprise you what all we have covered in this chapter. This chapter is basically divisible into 3 parts. In segment number 9.1, you learnt about meaning, importance and modes of reproduction. Segment number 9.2 was totally devoted to sexual reproduction, and here also the emphasis was on knowing about sexual reproduction in human beings. Viewers, I have covered the content of these 2 segments of this chapter in these 4 YouTube videos. Do go through these serially for developing a clear and systematic idea about the process of reproduction. And this concluding segment number 9.3 is about asexual reproduction in animals. So what all you are going to explore in segment number 9.3, let me tell you that also. With the help of this video, you are going to learn about first, reproduction and its modes. Second, asexual reproduction in animals and subtypes. Third, budding in Hydra. Fourth, binary fission in Amoeba. And fifth, the story of first cloned mammal, Dolly the sheep. So without further delay, let's get started. So we are starting with our first objective and it is reproduction and its modes. Let's know about it. Reproduction. It is one of the characteristic feature of living beings. And this process is enabling living beings to continue their species generation after generation on this planet Earth. Because reproduction is dealing with production of young ones of own kind. And all living organisms are undergoing reproduction. If we are talking about unicellular organisms, जो एक ही सेल के बने होते हैं, like bacteria, amoeba, they are also continuing their species generation after generation. If we are talking about birds, they also lay fertilized eggs and from those chicks, they hatch. Human beings, cows, buffaloes, horses, they give birth to young ones. So we can say the process by which the living organism produce young ones of their own kind, this is called reproduction. And it is enabling any species to continue its existence generation after generation. We have a diversity of living organisms, so their modes are also different. But basically, we can categorize modes of reproduction of all living beings into 2 categories. First one is sexual reproduction and the second one is asexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, 2 parents are required, one male, one female. There is involvement of sex organs. There is involvement of sex cells. On the other hand, in asexual reproduction, only one parent is required to produce young one and there is no involvement of sex organs. Under asexual reproduction, we have to learn about 2 basic subtypes and these are budding and binary fission. This is journal outline of modes of reproduction in case of animals, asexual reproduction and its subtypes. So let's know about this. Asexual reproduction. It involves the production of new organisms by just one parent. Asexual reproduction, it takes place generally in unicellular and some multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms, which are made up of only one cell.
Multicellular organisms are made up of more than one cell.
These lower level organisms, they go for this asexual reproduction, and you know about the basic subtypes of asexual reproduction, that they are budding and binary fission. So let's try to understand these terms one by one. First, we are taking up budding. This is very interesting method of asexual reproduction in case of lower level animals. In budding, a new organism, it grows in the form of a bud-like projection called a bud from the parent's body itself. जो parent का body है उसमें ही छोटा सा एक outgrowth निकलेगा in the form of a bud, and that will keep on increasing in size, and eventually that bud-like projection, it will grow, it will get mature, and it will pinch off or break away from parent's body. We have two classic examples to understand budding. One is yeast and another is Hydra. So let's understand the complete process of budding with the help of one example, that is Hydra. And this is objective number 3 of this video, budding in Hydra. First, I will let you know what is Hydra. Hydra is a
Multicellular
aquatic animal, and its measurement is hardly 10 millimeter. From the body of mature Hydra, bud-like structure will start growing out. But this is very systematic process, and how it is taking place in case of Hydra, let's understand that. Pay attention to this pictorial representation. It is giving the idea about the sequence of budding, the steps of budding in case of Hydra. First picture is of mature Hydra, and it is considered as parent Hydra. If you will notice at the bottom part, there is small bud-like projection. It eventually grows. There is formation of that tentacles at the top part, and it grows and then it gets detached. So that is how the parent Hydra, it is giving rise to new Hydra. Now you have seen the sequence. So what you have to remember, viewers, if the question is describe budding in Hydra, then you have to draw these steps in the same sequence and you have to write in brief about it. So this is how budding is taking place in case of Hydra, and similar type of budding is also seen in case of yeast. And this process of budding is very quick. But we have two more examples where budding is seen, and they are sponges and corals. They are also aquatic. These buds, they remain attached to the parent body and they give colony-like appearance. So here you can see sponges. These are number of buds which have grown from parent body. Here also in case of coral, the parent body is visible, and these buds, they are staying with the body of the parent organism. So this was about first basic subtype of asexual reproduction, budding. Now let's switch over to second subtype, that is binary fission in animals. Binary fission. First, let's decode the meaning of these two terms, binary and fission. Binary means two and fission means breakdown. So binary fission refers to division of a cell or any organism into two parts. So in binary fission, the parent organism, it splits into two halves and give rise to two organisms or two cells. Like this one is bacteria. It is undergoing binary fission, and one bacterium is giving rise to two bacteria. And here also, children, what you have to remember, that asexual reproduction, it is comparatively faster than sexual reproduction. Binary fission is one of the simplest method of asexual reproduction. It is generally seen in unicellular organism or single-celled organisms like bacteria, amoeba, paramecium, etc. So now it's time to understand about this process, binary fission, with the help of an example, and the classical example is amoeba. So let's know about binary fission in amoeba. But before that, I want to apprise you about amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular and microscopic organism. It lives in fresh water. This is how it looks actually. It's transparent. When we have to know about binary fission in amoeba, we should have clear idea about its three parts. And these three parts are cytoplasm, which is a jelly-like material present within this unicellular organism, nucleus, which is the central solid bigger cell organelle, and we also have to pay attention to these numerous false feet called pseudopodia. Singular is pseudopody. During binary fission amoeba, we have to focus on these three parts of this amoeba. So let's understand it. When mother amoeba is about to go for binary fission, first thing is withdrawal of pseudopodia. जो उसके finger like false feet हैं वो उनको withdraw कर लेता है. Second is elongation and division of nucleus into two halves, followed by division of the cytoplasm into two parts, and then formation of two daughter amoebae. These daughter amoebae so form, they also grow and attain their full size before splitting again. So this is how continuation of amoeba as a species is there generation after generation. So that's it about asexual reproduction in case of animals. Now coming to our last objective, which is story of cloning, and this story is about first cloned mammal Dolly. Children, to know about story of cloning, I have to take you to Rosenhill Institute in Edinburgh, Scotland, which has created history on 5th of July 1996 by coming up with first cloned mammal. You look at this cute lamb. Its name is Dolly. Dolly is a Eve. Dolly was the first mammal to have been successfully cloned from an adult cell. And the credit for cloning first mammal from an adult cell, it goes to
Dr. Ian Wilmot.
So here is the picture of
Dr. Ian Wilmot
with Dolly. She lived a healthy life for more than 6.5 years and produced several offsprings through normal sexual reproduction. But Dolly was not the end product of sexual reproduction. Why? So for that, you have to pay attention to this pictorial representation. Children, when Dolly was created, so one cell, it was taken from donor and from her mammary glands, breast के cell से एक cell लिया and उसमें से nucleus ले लिया. Another cell from another sheep of other breed, वहां से egg लिया. उस egg का nucleus was removed and artificially under in vitro conditions, this enucleated egg जिसमें से nucleus निकाल दिया था, उसमें ये डोनर का न्यूक्लियस इंसर्ट किया and it was kept on artificial medium and supplied with all sort of nutrients. It started dividing, redividing. There was formation of embryo and then this embryo was implanted in the uterus of third sheep, and finally on 5th of July 1996, Dolly, the first cloned mammal, arrived in this world. So with this, we are through with the chapter. But before concluding this video, I want to give you the basic points of difference between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, now you know two parents are required, whereas in case of asexual reproduction, only one parent is required. Sexual reproduction, here, production and fusion of sex cells is must. On the other hand, in case of asexual reproduction, sex cells are not produced and they are not involved. Third point of difference is in sexual reproduction, parents and offsprings, they are not identical to each other. On the other hand, in case of asexual reproduction, parent and offsprings, they are almost identical to each other. Sexual reproduction, it's a very slow process. On the other hand, asexual reproduction is much more faster than sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, it leads to variation, whereas in case of asexual reproduction, variation is negligible. So with this, we are through with the content of entire chapter. But what all we have discussed in this video, let me summarize that also. In this video, you learnt about reproduction, its two basic modes, but the focus of this video was entirely on asexual reproduction and its subtypes. Here you learnt about the complete process of budding in Hydra. You also explored the basic steps of binary fission in case of Amoeba. And lastly, you came to know about first cloned mammal of the world. It was Dolly the sheep. So now it's time to go for self-assessment with the help of a worksheet which I have prepared for you. Going by the importance of this chapter in annual exam and competitive exam, I've included a variety of questions and I suggest you to go through all these 4 questions. So now it's time to tell you about my next video. It is about the introductory part of chapter 10, reaching the age of adolescence, and in that I have covered part 1 of this chapter, which is dealing with adolescence and puberty. So please do join me there also. With this, I want to thank all my subscribers for subscribing to BioHub and coming up with your suggestions and views in the comment section. If you are a new viewer, I welcome you, and if you are a frequent visitor, then I suggest you to please do subscribe to my channel. If you are finding the content of my channel interesting and worth clearing your doubts, then please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Do share the link of my channel with your fellow friends. I'm sure it is of some help to them. Stay tuned to my channel and keep exploring about biology with me. With this, I'm signing out. Hope to see you soon in my next video. Till then, bye-bye.